No, I remember playing the songs on the piano with Fischer Disco. It must be in the early 70s.
It was the first symphony. I didn't like it particularly. I was 14 or 15. I thought it was vulgar.
So the first time I have heard Mahler, that was in France anyway. But I mean, it was the Fourth Symphony, and I remember the Schellen at the beginning, because it was so unusual to hear this kind of noise to begin a symphony, especially, that it was surprising.
First time, yes, very clearly was in the very early 60s in Rome, nell'Auditorio del Foro Italico, with the Rai Rome Orchestra, conducted by a very young at the time Zubin Mehta, a rehearsal of the First Symphony.
And I remember a recording that I received was a gift from an uncle, I think, of the First Symphony. It was the first Mahler piece that I was listening.
And there was a very famous actor at this time, Gustav Gründgens, whom I knew, and that was the one who introduced me to the Second Symphony of Gustav Mahler, 1961.
I listened to my father to say, Mahler, there is a symphony of Mahler on the radio. And I said, well, who is this composer, Bobby? And he said, oh, it's a fantastic music, listen. I didn't want to listen because,
It was First Symphony. And of course I remembered being obviously a very, very young man. I remember this final moment when the horn section suddenly stands and continues to play while standing. A very, very powerful statement, Lust, in this symphony.
Ich nehme an, es war 657. Da hat Mitropoulos mit den Philharmonikern die Sechste gemacht.
I heard the junge Deutsche Philharmonie, the German Youth Orchestra, with Mahler 1. And I was extremely impressed already.
Now, I only remember when I heard first time Mahler, I was so impressed. I was like in heaven.
Well, sometime in my teens, rather late, probably.
That was in Bombay. It was a recording of the Fourth Symphony by Bruno Walter, and the singer was Desi Halbach.
I think the first time I did Mahler heard Mahler was when I was conducting it.
And I heard the second movement of the First Symphony explained and then conducted by Leonard Bernstein in the New York Philharmonic, and it was on what now has become a famous television series called the Young Persons Concerts.
He gave me a tape and he told, there is one composer, he forgot the name, but and it was Mahler First Symphony, and the beginning of the third, which is this chord of strings. It's a sound of nature, absolutely.
And it was Mahler 8, and I was in the Knabenchor, and I must have sung this piece 3 or 4 times in the time that I was a boy.
I suppose it could have been when Igor Markevich was conducting in Helsinki, and I seem to remember that my mother played Bartók's Third Piano Concerto with him, and then there was Mahler's First Symphony.
My first encounter with the music of Gustav Mahler was, of course, the vocal music, and it was the Rückert-Lieder.
Oí Mahler por primera vez cuando estaba en la escolanía de Montserrat. Yo estuve de los 10 a los 14 años estudiando en Montserrat, en el monasterio.
The thing that completely knocked me sideways when I was 11 or 12 was hearing the Second Symphony live, and that's the reason why I'm a conductor today.
My conducting teacher, Jorma Panla, was the first Finnish conductor who actually conducted a Mahler cycle, all the Mahler symphonies in Finland, and this was in the 70s.
Really, I divide my life between before I heard
that recording, which was Ferrier and Walter, and after I heard it?
It was actually the Symphony Number 1, and I must have been 10 or 11 years old.
I was about 13 years old in New York City, and I was taken to a rehearsal of the New York Philharmonic, and Metropolis was conducting, and he was conducting something which I didn't know at all, never had heard, and I was quite impressed with the sound of it, and I thought, what is this, what is this? But I never found out.